Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Nahal and I am its host. Today we're going to talk about all things jealousy, how to deal with it within yourself, and how to deal with it when other people are jealous of you. So, story from the very beginning of my life. Basically, when I was younger, my parents would educate me in ways to be like, don't do anything so that other people can be jealous of you. And I didn't really understand what this meant. Like, I didn't really think I had anything that was worthy of making other people jealous of. But I did happen to be good at everything I'd started doing. Like, and I always would just jump into it. So it was hardly ever a point where when I would start something and I did terrible at it. Side note, yoga was the only thing, and now I'm a yoga therapist, so go figure, make it my life's journey to be better at the one thing that I was not good at, especially the physical postures. That was a nightmare, despite being good at sports. Story for another time. But basically, this is what my parents would just educate me. Act small, be small, do everything small to not attract attention. And since I also grew up in a country where I was the only foreigner, already just by my face alone, I attracted a lot of attention. So I was already attracting a lot of attention. On top of that, I had a personality that was super loud. And then on top of that, I had this personality where I always wanted to prove myself, compete, and actually be good at things. And this is where where my parents were like, be small. So you can imagine what that does to a human being when they start a YouTube channel and go from wanting to be invisible and trying to do everything small to then being like, all right, let's show it to the world and actually be helpful to other people. But that would require you coming out of a big block and big box. So it was a huge internal shift that I had to do within myself in order to just be visible. Because I was the only foreigner in my childhood, where just by my looks and everything, I would attract attention. I didn't quite really know what I was truly likable for. Because it didn't really make sense to me. It was either I was super popular or suddenly on a whim, and it was unpredictable that I would become the lowest of the lowest. And it used to have to do in history class or in politics class, where it was suddenly I was the foreign invader. So it was very unpredictable for me to always understand why people liked me and all these things. So there's also that complex in there within myself. But this is also why the quality of jealousy, I perhaps understand a little better than other people. Because when I was younger, I can say I did not experience a lot of jealousy myself. I would say literally jealousy is a very new phenomena for me, stemming from within. I have experienced it many a times from outside. And so the very few times that I would experience jealousy, this was my game plan. And that was to basically just approach the other person and learn more about them and learn more from them, right? And that kind of worked for a little while until and usually what would happen is that I would approach the person, I would find out a little bit more about them, and then I would realize that they're not that great. And then I'll be like, okay, they suck, actually. There's really nothing for me to be jealous of, and really that emotion just kind of went away very quickly. So when it became an actual problem was when I would actually approach people. That was the one single game plan that I had, strategy with dealing with my own jealousy, was going to approach people. Until I came to the point where I would start meeting people where when I met them, they were actually as wonderful as I thought they were. And that was super painful because I was like, oh shit, you're actually that great. And I'm like, And so that whole strategy of me just continuing to learn from them actually didn't necessarily, it was not a sustainable thing. Because what actually ended up happening is that same person was actually mutually jealous with me, and it was quite a toxic friendship, really, where it wasn't really based off of the friendship alone. it was more like, all right, what do you have? How do I get that? What do you have? How do I get that? And we were both very open and still are very open to sharing with one another. But it's like almost there's no true friendship like underneath where it's like, oh, I'll ask you about how you are like minutes after because I feel guilty that I didn't ask you. And then I realize that I'm actually using you and you know it and I know it. Like, and then you still do it, which is actually worse because you realize how truly wonderful that other person is because you know that they're not trying to be an asshole or they're not trying to be a dick. And they're actually trying to compensate for the self-reflection that they do put themselves through. But then it's still not a healthy friendship. So what I ended up learning is that not to do that. When it was someone truly who you feel jealous about, and there's mutual jealousy, it's not just like one-sided, that it's okay not to be friends with them. It's okay not to like kind of approach them and just be together, because this is what one of my therapists was like sharing with me. There are going to be some people that irk you, that they just irk you so much that it's like so much physical work and spiritual practice that you need to put yourself through just to be around that person. And then there are people who are just so wonderful and lovely, and they could tell you horrible things about yourself, but it's not in a way, you're totally fine with it and you can handle it and it will just be like fine. So that's something that like these kind of people, it's okay to be with. For those people that like literally exhausts all of your resources just to be around them, it's okay to be like, you know what? I don't have all the energy in the world to deal with these kind of people because it's just too much. It's so much work that I need to do in order to do things. Even though I'm a therapist, what I do is to teach people tools to help like overcome their own issues. I also want to say is that not to put yourself in circumstances where you have to practice so much of your spiritual practice just after dealing with one person. You know, like that is like wholly unnecessary. And things that are important to remember are that there's a quote by Baha'u'llah that says, "Jealousy consumeth the body and anger doth the liver. Avoid these two like the lion." I will share a video of a long time ago that I made of emotional cleansing practice. And this is by far the first two emotions, anger and jealousy, that I tell people to excavate out of their body and their life, so that the reason for this is actually because both these two emotions have infective qualities. They have qualities that are really just not great. It's like it consumeth the body and doth, and also the liver. So it burneth the liver. So all of these, like there's certain organs in your body that literally process like certain emotions like anger. That's why you can see people who are really angry, they're around their eyes, it's like super yellow. It's like a malfunctioning of their liver. Also, you can see a tint on their skin that it's a little yellowish. All of these aspects, you can see that the person deals with a lot of anger, but also it could just be that their liver is clogged up and there's also a lot of physical manifestations. So don't go around pointing to people being like, I see anger in you, or your liver sucks. Like, drop the fingers down, right? Okay, just keep the guns in your pockets. So that's the major quote that I want you guys to think about in terms of the health impacts of jealousy and anger on your body. And please go watch that video of the emotional cleansing practice and do it. If you suffer from jealousy or anger, it's the number 1-2 emotions that I encourage everyone to get rid of because of its infectivity quality, meaning that if you express your jealousy, if you express your anger, the chances of other people expressing that and feeling that is also pretty high. What I love the most about how Rumi, the Persian poet, talks about jealousy is seeing the light in someone else and denying your own. So seeing someone else's light, but then also blocking yourself of your own light. So what actually recently was happening, I was experiencing a little bit of jealousy, and I remembered, I was like thinking, all right, what do I do? Like this emotion of jealousy like actually comes up. So how do I deal with it? And I thought of, and it was literally, the answer came to me in a dream where it was like, if you knew, first of all, you need to know what your own light is. And I already know what my light is. And this is a task that definitely everyone should go into, to be like, what do you think you were put on this planet to do? And what do you think you were basically here for, to tell you that only uniquely you can do and not a lot of other people can do it? For me, I know my jam is like talking about global health. I see connections in things, and I speak a couple languages so that I can like speak to a very broad audience about these things. And I also love making YouTube channels. All of these talents kind of help me do my purpose. So the answer that came to me the other day in my dream, to be like, all right, sincerely, I want to deal with jealousy. How do I work on it? And the answer came as to, if you saw the other person as needing to know, or that they needed to hear from you what global health was about, I was like, oh my God, immediately my jealousy would go away, because I would be like, I know what I'm good at, and I know what I have to offer to other people. So no matter who I see that is so amazing, as long as I remember within myself, I have this to offer other people, and that I know that they would be interested in it, and I know it affects them, and I know that anytime I speak about global health, people's eyes start getting wide and they're like, oh my God. And it's like almost like I can see like kernels popping in their brain, and like just revelation upon revelation in their eyes. Like I've done this enough times that I know that this is true. So that when I thought of it, like, oh, all I need to remember is that other people, if I were to share about my perspectives on global health, this would be the thing that would remove my own jealousy towards them, that I would no longer have jealousy. So now let's talk about, that's how you do it from within outwards. But what do you do it from outwards when you experience a lot of people feeling jealousy towards you? Which I will say that I feel a lot more of this, both from people who blatantly just tell me I'm jealous of you, or from people just feeling super awkward and squirmy from you, and you're just like, oh, please just recognize your own light so that we can just be together and be friends, okay? So this is the other thing. This is the other thing with jealousy, and especially with me as a healer and all these things. Jealousy blocks healing. I cannot take on clients that are jealous of me, because it literally blocks healing. A lot of people think that, I'm an integrative yoga therapist, like whoever comes to me, I'll just take them. That is not true. No, it's almost probably about like 40% less I take than actually approach me. And the reasons for that are many. But one of the very important reasons are, if I sense the other person is jealous of me and they're ready to heal and all of these things, I am not able to engage in that. Because for various reasons, not only for myself, but also for them, like whatever I am to do and to share would not be helpful on behalf of their own spiritual growth, because I am uniquely the person that is evoking jealousy within that. In this case, I would just tell you to go and find someone else who you're not jealous of and you also respect and admire, and go get healing from them. There's plenty of people. I'm okay with not taking your money. It's really that it needs to be in spiritual alignment with both myself and with you. And so that it needs to be a match so that it can be fruitful. Because if you're going to pay so much money to invest in your own healing, then that's going to be something that you want to be like focused on, right? So that's one aspect in terms of healing. But also when I was asking my own healer to be like, what do I do when I have clients that are jealous of me? I'm like, oh, this is so awkward and weird. And I'm like, but I know I can also help them get out of their jealousy and all these things. And my intuitive healer was like, no one who is jealous should be in your immediate radius. No one who is jealous should be in your immediate radius, in your inner circle. Because, she said, this violates the covenant. No one can be supportive of you and be jealous of you at the same time. There are people that you can see that you're like super, super supportive of them, and you cheer them on and you're all these things. You cannot be simultaneously jealous of them and also support them at the same time. So this is something like really important for everyone to just know, whether it's dealing with jealousy within yourself, excavate it, because other people will throw you out of their inner circle after watching this video. Or if other people are feeling jealousy towards you, you need to also not have them in your circle. Despite if they're like, even if they're like your family, your colleagues, your friends, these are people that you want to keep like an arm's length distance away, because it is not fruitful to your spiritual growth, essentially. I cannot share how many times that I've liked a guy and they were actually jealous of me. And I'm like, why? What is the purpose of this jealousy when I like you and I admire you and I respect you and I'm like already like just flaunting myself towards you, and then you can't get over the amazingness that I am? And I'm like, why can't we just be amazing together and just play together and both just be like an amazing couple? Why can't we just do that? So this, I've like lost so many people that I truly love because of the feelings of jealousy. And I really want this emotion to just be out of people's lives, out of my life, out of other people's lives. I just want it. It's a weed that just needs to be plucked out. Anytime you identify it, be accountable with it, be very rigorous with yourself in excavating the number one emotion that is going to be the infectivity that no other emotion on top of that, truthfulness, like kindness, or feelings of joy and happiness. I quoted out all these like virtues when I was really talking about emotions, but they're kind of connected at the same time, because jealousy is the shadow versus the light. I actually don't know what the opposite of jealousy would be, being happy for other people. And so really, truly, this is where we can also combat jealousy, is by celebrating the other person in their joy, whatever they are good at, whatever you are jealous of them for. Be like, if that's something I recognize that I really want to do, then either go do it yourself. This is what is on the word of the street of this is how you should deal with jealousy, is like, it's always an identifier to see what you truly want inside. Definitely use that as a barometer, for sure. Go for it. If you see someone else, but I would argue on this side even more, is that if you see a quality in someone else, it means you have it within yourself. And if you're jealous, it's like a twisting of the emotion of you not taking accountability for it, but you're also not practicing it. You're also not letting this potentiality flourish. And that's kind of on you. So, deal with yourself in that sense. So if it's like, and so if you recognize in someone else a quality that you really like and enjoy, go develop those qualities within yourself. It's not possible to identify a quality in someone else that you don't already have. This is why sometimes we meet murderers all the time on the street and we don't really identify with them, because it's like, oh, I don't have that quality in me, so I can't recognize it. But if there's something in someone else that you're like, oh, I love it when they do that, or like, oh, I love it when this happens, then that quality is within you. Either you're not acknowledging it, you're not really going deep and just embracing that part of yourself, and you're being like, not only do I not have it, that I'm like, when I see other people have it, then it like makes me a little pissy. So it's like, that's really about you embracing your own powers and your own strengths and things like that. So whether it is dealing with jealousy in the terms of your health, excavating it out, seeing it as an infectious disease, like really plucking it out, or looking at it as like denying your own light and someone else's, going inwards and recognizing your own light, whether that is using jealousy as like a barometer to see, oh, if this person is doing this thing, I'm super jealous of it, then maybe that's like an indication of where you need to go to. Then doing that. Either way, it's work, inner work that needs to be done to deal with it. So actually now moving on to how do you deal with it when other people are jealous of you? I got a couple tips. One of which I've recently discovered within myself is that as well-intentioned as you can be talking about something and getting really excited and passionate about something, not being mindful of your words of what your emotion, I'm just gonna close this, what your words, how your words have an impact on other people, that's on you for not using wisdom in your speech. So it's like, sometimes you could be going through a really hard time and you need some emotional validation, so you start talking about what you're doing and you're not really mindful of what the other person is going through and how your words have an impact on them. You're just thinking, I'm going through a hard enough time that I need to express this, but then you don't realize what it's going to bring out in someone else, which is usually like jealousy. So that aspect of like using wisdom with your own speech, not to evoke jealousy in other people. Straight up, if you're trying to say things to make other people jealous, no shit, Sherlock, are you going to get jealousy from other people? But if you're like, I'm not doing it intentionally, or like, I don't think I am, going through to be like, what is within me that is also attracting jealousy from the outside in, you know? So it's like, there is also this victim mentality that you need to deal with. You need to be like, oh, everyone is always so jealous of me. I have no friends. So it's really not the aspect of whether or not you're doing anything to make other people feel jealous, or the aspect of people who say that if you're attracting jealousy, you have jealousy within you, which is not entirely accurate. Because even if you don't have jealousy, there's other components of victimhood mentality, of feeling like a loner, that would also attract this jealousy. But of course, also, if you're attracting other people being jealous of you, see if there's jealousy in you first. Number one. Second, being like, all right, do you have that victim mentality that you just always want to be like, why is everyone so against me? Why is everyone always just feeling so jealous of me? And secretly kind of enjoying it at the same time, being like, I want to have friends, but everyone's so jealous of me because I'm so wonderful. You know, like, if that is what you're doing, then, you know, get your shit together. Really, that's all I have to say about it. So these are kind of ways in which how to deal with jealousy within yourself. Use it as barometers, use it as a direction, excavate it out of yourself first thing, and then also realize if you're on the opposite end where you're attracting a lot of jealousy from outside, being like, is there something that I am doing to attract this, to evoke this? And sometimes there's really not, okay? And then there's the component of just being like, well, I just need to embrace my light. Okay, all of these things you need to kind of like look through to see which one of them are really applicable to you. I would say all of them are kind of slightly applicable to everyone. You just need to see where is the first point, touch point that you need to go through in order to deal with it. So that's like the number one thing that I want you to think about when we talk about jealousy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Press the like button. It always helps my analytics. Thank you so much. And let me know in the comments below which aspect or component of that was helpful for you. I've been wanting to make this video for a very long time, and I think I needed to go through my own personal bouts of jealousy in order to be able to make this video helpful for other people, because the initial video I was going to make a long time ago was going to be like, yeah, I don't have jealousy a lot, but other people are really jealous of me, until I was literally about to make this video, and then I was like, I just had so much of my own jealousy, and then I was like, oh, this is what this feels like. This sucks. This really sucks, and this is how you need to go about doing it. So hopefully this video, now having taken a long time to make it, has been more of assistance and service to you guys, which is really my whole purpose of being here. So let me know if you like more videos like this. In the membership portal, we just recently talked about jealousy, which inspired this video. We actually covered how to deal with jealousy in the classroom and with children. And we had different educators all come together to talk about how to deal with it within yourself, how to deal with it with other people, how to deal with it with other colleagues. It's huge. And there's probably going to be a video about jealousy and female leadership. Watch out for that one as well. Subscribe to our channel so you can get notifications. click on the bell button and all that good stuff. You know YouTube, how it works. Or if you don't, listen to us when we tell you, please click on the like button, subscribe, and all these things so that other people can also see these videos and it be helpful for them. So if you would like, come on, join the membership portal if you like to have these conversations on an intimate level. We talk about it. We have a lot of guest lecture speakers who come, who specifically dive into these kind of topics, that all of the things that the members like want to bring up. If you want to join our community, you are absolutely welcome. And we love you. Signing off. Goodbye.